There is a place in the north of England where the ground still remembers what greatness felt like. Old Trafford. The theatre of dreams. Not just a stadium. A sermon delivered in red. A cathedral where football became religion and religion became trophies. Under one man's watch, this club ruled the world. Sir Alex Ferguson. 26 years. 38 trophies. 13 Premier League titles. 2 Champions League crowns. And in 1999, the holy year, the treble. Premier League. FA Cup. Champions League. The first English club ever to hold all three in the same hand. Trailing Bayern Munich 1-0 in injury time in Barcelona. The whole world had written the eulogy. Then Sheringham. Then Solskjaer. 2 goals. 91st minute. 93rd minute. That was Manchester United. Ferguson didn't just win football matches. He manufactured belief. He built it into the walls of Carrington, stitched it into the DNA of every player who wore red. The class of '92, Scholes, Giggs, Beckham, Neville, but, Neville, born not in a transfer window but on a training pitch. Champions not bought. Champions grown. When Cantona arrived from Leeds for £1.2 million, the world laughed. Then the world watched. Eric the King. 5 Premier League titles in 6 years. The collar turned up. The chest out. A man who didn't just play football, he dared it to be greater. And Ronaldo. The boy who arrived from Lisbon with tricks and no end product. Ferguson saw something no one else could see. He waited. He shaped. And the world watched a winger become the most lethal force on earth, 42 goals in one season. The 2008 Ballon d'Or at just 23 years old. Champions League winner in Moscow. This was United. This was what the badge demanded. Then May 2013. The greatest manager in football history walked through the doors of Old Trafford for the last time as a boss. Ferguson retired as Premier League champion. One final title. One final bow. And the silence that followed was the loudest sound the game had ever heard. What followed was not a transition. It was a collapse. Not sudden. Slow. The kind of falling that hurts more because you can feel every inch of it. David Moyes. Louis van Gaal. Jose Mourinho. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ralf Rangnick. Erik ten Hag. 6 managers in 12 years. Each one arriving with hope. Each one leaving with the weight of a club that had forgotten who it was. The Glazer family, who had loaded the club with debt since their 2005 takeover, squeezed the finances dry while the football rotted. Transfer windows became chaos. Players bought for ego. Sold for nothing. The dressing room, a revolving door of talent without identity. And then came 2024-25. The season that broke records no one wanted. 15. That was where Manchester United finished in the Premier League. 15th. The lowest position in the club's entire Premier League history. The lowest in 25 years. 18 league defeats, the most since the 1973-74 season, the year United were relegated to the second division. 9 of those losses came at home. Old Trafford, once a fortress that visiting teams feared for decades, had become a hunting ground. Bournemouth came to Old Trafford and left with 3 goals, for the second season running. Wolves knocked them apart on Boxing Day. Brighton humiliated them 3-1 in January 2025, a result so brutal that their own manager, Ruben Amorim, stood before the cameras and said what no manager had ever said publicly about their own squad, that this was probably the worst team in the history of Manchester United. His own team. His own words. The truth dressed in pain. 54 goals conceded in the league. 44 scored, their lowest since the Premier League began. almost scoring more goals in 15 Europa League games than in 38 league matches. A points per game rate under Amorim of 1 point per match, the worst of any Manchester United manager in Premier League history. Europa League final. Bilbao. One last chance at salvation. Tottenham. 1-0. Brennan Johnson. 42nd minute. No European football the following season, for the first time since 2014. The theatre of dreams had gone dark. But inside the darkness, something refused to die. Bruno Fernandes. The captain. Through every relegation battle masquerading as a season, through every managerial exile, through every humiliation, his feet kept moving. In 2024-25, 18 assists. Top of the charts. In the current 2025-26 season, Bruno leads the entire Premier League in chances created with 92. 22 big chances. 8.5 expected assists. He is not just surviving. He is conducting. And then there is Kobbie Mainoo. 20 years old. An academy boy. Born inside the club's own walls. When Amorim couldn't find a system that fitted him, he sat on the bench and waited. Patient like the greats always are. The world feared he would leave. That United would lose the one jewel they had grown themselves. He stayed. Amad Diallo. The Ivorian who scored that Manchester Derby winner in December 2024, a first touch of silk, a finish of ice, at the Etihad, when Amorim's reign was barely weeks old. A moment of pure fire in the coldest season. Lenny Yoro. 20 years old. Arrived with a fractured foot and a reputation that preceded him from Lille. A class act. A cornerstone waiting to be built around. These men did not run. When the wall was on fire, they stood beside it. January 5, 2026. Amorim gone. The relationship broken. And into the fire walked a man who already knew the ground. Michael Carrick. Not a stranger to this badge. Not a hired hand from a distant club. A man who won the Premier League 5 times wearing red. A man who lifted the Champions League in Moscow in 2008. A man who played alongside Ronaldo, Rooney, Scholes, who understood in his bones what this club was supposed to feel like. His first press conference was not a speech. It was a promise. I want to play exciting football. I want to be off my seat. I want to see the boys express themselves. Then he went to work. Gone was Amorim's 3 at the back, the system that suffocated Mainoo on the bench and pushed Fernandes into a deeper role where his fire turned to smoke. In came a 4-2-3-1. Bruno pushed forward, released into the pockets of space where he destroys defenders. Mainoo returned to midfield, his natural home, partnered with Casemiro in a double pivot that gave the team its spine back. The results arrived like a storm. Manchester City at Old Trafford. 2-0. The first win over City in the league in what felt like an age. Then Arsenal away. 3-2. A thriller. Then Fulham at home. 3-2 again, Benjamin Sesko with the late winner. 6 wins from 8 games. From 15th place in 2024 to 25 to 3rd in the Premier League by March 2026. Hunting Champions League qualification. The theatre of dreams breathing again. A club rebuilding does not do so with words. It does so with steel. 3 signings. 3 statements. Brian Mbeumo from Brentford. €75 million. The kind of winger who makes fullbacks age in real time. Direct. Clinical. Electric in tight spaces. Mateus Cunha from Wolves. €74 million. Brazilian chaos wrapped in technical brilliance. Under Amorim, his goals and assists per 90 minutes sat at a quiet 0.3. Under Carrick, that number exploded to 0.8. The system changed and the player transformed. And Benjamin Sesko. €85 million from RB Leipzig. The Slovenian striker who stood 6'3" and moved like someone far smaller. Under Amorim, invisible. Half his goals this season have come in just 6 matches under Carrick. His improvement under the new manager, 869% in goal contributions per 90 minutes. The same player. Different hands shaping him. When Sesko scored the winner against Crystal Palace in March 2026, a header, patient and precise after barely touching the ball for 35 minutes, it was not just a goal. It was a symbol. This team had learned to wait. To trust. To strike. Between the posts, even there the rot has been cleared. Sen Lammens from Royal Antwerp, €21 million. Quiet. Reliable. The kind of goalkeeper who makes the defense trust their legs again. But let no one be deceived by momentum. Carrick's record is 7 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat in 9 games. Beautiful. Promising. But the question is not whether United can win a run of matches. The question is whether they can build an era. The decision that looms over this summer is the largest the club has faced in years. Carrick's contract ends in May 2026. The hierarchy, according to reports, admire him deeply, his calm, his media presence, his impact on training. But the internal criteria is ruthless, a manager who has won a Premier League title or a Champions League. Carrick has not yet won either. Names are circling. Unai Emery at Aston Villa. Andoni Iraola at Bournemouth. Oliver Glasner. Roberto De Zerbi. Tuchel and Ancelotti, both possessing the trophy credentials United demands, are reportedly out of the running. The right manager must come. The right decision must be made. Because this club has enough talent now to demand no less. Menu at 20 years old. Bruno Fernandes leading Europe in chance creation. Sesko finding his fire. Euro becoming the centre-back the Premier League has not seen from United since Vidic and Ferdinand patrolled together. Mbumo. Cunha. Ahmad. The pieces are there. The puzzle just needs steady hands to complete it. There are clubs that exist to entertain. There are clubs that exist to compete. And then there are clubs that exist to define what football is capable of. Manchester United is the third kind. Matt Busby built the Busby Babes in the 1950s, an average age of 22, champions twice before Munich stole 8 of them from the sky. He rebuilt, and in 1968 he fulfilled a promise to a generation of ghosts by becoming the first English club to lift the European Cup. Ferguson arrived in 1986 to a club in chaos and a fanbase that had waited 26 years for a league title. In December 1989 he called it the darkest period of his life. He nearly lost his job. Then came the FA Cup in 1990. Then Cantona. Then the class of '92. Then the treble. Then Moscow. Then the 21st of May 2013, Premier League champions one final time. His curtain call. Every generation of United has faced its valley. Its dark winter. Its moment of doubt. This is theirs. 15th place. 18 defeats. A manager calling his own players the worst in the club's history. No European football for the first time in a decade. The theatre of dreams used as a place for visitors to break droughts and collect memories. But then, 3-0 in San Mamés against Athletic Bilbao in the Europa League semi-final. Nobody predicted that. Then 2-0 against City. Then 3-2 at Arsenal. Then a boy named Kobbie Mainoo playing every single minute under Carrick, the same boy they almost let leave, the same boy Amorim left on the bench, now receiving calls from Thomas Tuchel, the England manager, watching from the stands. The story is not over. It has never been over. It is just being written again. Will Manchester United be great again? Not because of a single result. Not because of a winning run in March. Not because of 3 expensive forwards or 1 promising manager or a new owner restructuring the club from the inside. They will be great again because of something that cannot be measured. This club carries weight that other clubs do not carry. 20 league titles. 3 European Cups. The treble. A class of 92 that changed how academies are run across the planet. Cantona. Scholes. Giggs. Rooney. Ronaldo. Fergie time, a concept so embedded in the game that it became part of football's language. That history does not crush. It compels. Kobbie Mainoo knows it. He grew up inside these walls. He knows what this badge has meant. He knows what it still must mean. Bruno Fernandes knows it. He has stayed through the wreckage when leaving would have been easier. He still passes the ball like someone playing for the most important club on earth, because to him, it is. Benjamin Sesko is learning it. So is Lenny Yoro. So is every player who puts on that shirt and hears 67,000 voices inside Old Trafford singing the name of a club that has been down before, and has always come back. In 1986, a man arrived at a struggling club and took it to the greatest dynasty in English football history. They almost sacked him in 1990. In 1968, a manager rebuilt a team from the ashes of a plane crash and won Europe. In 1999, trailing in the 91st minute of a Champions League final, they scored twice. This is who Manchester United are. Not the 15th place. Not the 18 defeats. Not the worst season in modern history. They are the comeback. They are the belief when no one believes. They are the noise Old Trafford makes when the ball hits the back of the net in the 93rd minute and the whole world realizes, again, that this club is different. The Red Devils are rising. Slowly. Painfully. Inevitably. Manchester United will be great again. Not because they say so. Because they always are.